I happen to note a comment made by a Christian apologist. He's not an individual who's actually trained in biblical languages, and has adopted non-mainline views of the history of the Bible and text criticism, but made reference to CBGM and made this comment. What this basically means, folks, is that nearly 300 years of textual scholarship is about to be tossed into the waste bin. Now, is that a fair summary statement regarding what we have with CBGM? Well, what can fairly be said is that if we are doing our jobs as textual critics, and if we are keeping our nose to the grindstone, as they used to say, I'm not sure anyone knows what that means anymore, but, and if we are keeping our eye on the ball, what is our goal? Our goal is to establish the Ausgangstext, that original text, that authorial text. There's arguments. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Tonight is the only night, if you want to see in a theater, Fragments of Truth, the video on the movie with Dan Wallace and all sorts of other guys. Craig Evans is the primary guy that they focus on, about the papyri manuscripts. Tonight's the only night. And I don't know why it's just one night. I don't know how that stuff works. I teach Greek tonight anyway, so it's sort of irrelevant. But tonight's the night. Now, obviously, they're going to be making this available. I saw it pre-release. And if for no other reason than some of the best high-quality video you'll ever see of some of these papyri. I mean, I've shown you P66, but in the video, you get to see P66 from all sorts of different angles, and you can see what it looks like and how big it is, and all sorts of stuff like that. It's well worth seeing. Now, Peter Gurry at Phoenix Seminary has posted a review of it. I wanted to do the same thing, but all this race stuff came up, and it sort of delayed me from being able to do that. Really ethnicity stuff. I hate that term, race. Anyway, but that's tonight, and it's well worth going to see. If you've got freedom tonight, go see the film. You can look it up and see where it's showing locally, and check it out. And it's well worth seeing. Obviously, there's a couple issues I have some reservations on, similar to Dr. Gurry's reservations. Mine come primarily from viewing it as an individual. It's going to go, okay, how's Bart Ehrman going to respond to this? What about our Muslim friends? How are they going to respond to this? What would be some of the chinks in the armor, or some unguarded statements that were made, or some inconsistencies? I was a little taken aback by some of the comments on John 1:18 that were made, and a few issues like that. Those are the things that caught my attention. But overall, it is well worth going to see. And maybe if some of those issues come up, we can address them. I'm glad I've forgotten to put that on the list. So anyway, we go back to the issue of CBGM. Is it true that basically everything since the Reformation, almost, or at least since translation of the King James, or anything beyond that, is going to be tossed in the waste bin? Well, that is simply not true. That is only a statement that can be made by someone who doesn't understand CBGM, which is the vast majority of the human family at the moment. What we're seeing with CBGM is actually by and large, a major verification of the textual decisions that have been made in the modern period. And this is easily seen by the fact that there were just over 30 places in the Catholic epistles, the general epistles, where the consistent application of CBGM resulted in a change from the Nestle-Aland 27th edition to the Nestle-Aland 28th edition. Now, that's over, I think, off the top of my head, 3,400 places of variation that were examined in those books. So think about that. 30 out of 3,400? That's not exactly chucking something in the waste bin, is it? No, it's a relatively small amount of change. And though some of the changes, like Jude 1:5, will preach, that's what I addressed. I talked about this at the G3 conference. That was my solo presentation after Dr. Kruger and I did the canon thing. The vast majority of these differences, you would have a hard time even recognizing them in your translations. Now, that's not to say that there aren't some that are important. One of them comes to mind. CBGM caused them to adopt a reading that is not found in any manuscript for 900 years. That's concerning to me. And there is one conjectural emendation at that one extremely it's the same extremely difficult passage in Peter that Bart Ehrman made reference to in our debate in 2009.